I am joined by Robert Griffin III, James White, Field Yates, Mina Kimes.
All right, so first play we're going to look at 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Tayler Kyles here for CLNS Media, back with another episode of Pats Daily here on the CLNS Media Network. We are powered by Prize Picks and Game Time. We'll talk about them a little bit later, but first, Taylor, you dove into the film early, often on this Monday morning, Monday afternoon, into the Patriots' 15-10 loss to the Miami Dolphins. An ugly one. Again, offense only puts up 10 points, while defense lets up 15. There was penalties all over the place, missed opportunities, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And that's what we're going to dive into today in our film breakdown. Jacoby Brissett goes 18 of 34, completing just 53% of his throws, 160 yards, and no touchdowns. I don't know why I wrote a touchdown, but he did have some relatively clean pockets. I think the offensive line played a little bit better. I think you would agree with that. I think the majority of people who watched that game and have analyzed it agree that, you know, they put that new five offensive linemen out there and looked pretty solid. But unfortunately, the offense just couldn't get the job done. So we're going to break down some Jacoby Brissett misses and then some overall execution problems that the Patriots had, specifically at the end of the first half. But before we do so, Taylor, just blame pie, right? There's a lot of heat on Jacoby Brissett right now. Gerard Mayo this morning talking to the media and the Greg Hill show on WEEI and fails to name Jacoby Brissett their starter moving forward this week. Now, the last 2 weeks in his Monday morning presser, he did say Jacoby Brissett was their starter. So there's a little bit of a change there. It looks like there may be a transition to Drake Maye coming against Houston. We don't know. Next time we'll hear from Gerard Mayo is Wednesday morning. But in the meantime, don't know who the quarterback is. But blame pie, like I said, the offense's failed performance, if you will, on Sunday. Whose fault was it? Alex Van Pelt, offensive line, Jacoby Brissett. Divvy it up as best you can. What do you think was the reason why they were ultimately only able to score 10 points?
Well, I do want to acknowledge, first of all, that this is a team that we knew was going to win with their defense and their running game. Maybe their special teams. I think now we've at least seen that they are a good enough unit and they're well coached enough that we can't expect them to make some important plays. Because of that, I need to acknowledge that they weren't perfect either. Like the special teams, for the most part, they were fine. They did have the delay of game that was unintentional, led to a touchback. And then they tried to have another delay of game, and that wound up in a touchback where the Dolphins ended up scoring. They had another one that wasn't intentional. I believe that also ended in a touchback. But the defense also, like you have Keon White getting penalized twice egregiously on a drive that ended in a field goal. You also had the Dolphins' only touchdown drive was sparked by the fact that Christian Ellis on a 3rd and 15 decided to try to get a pass breakup when he didn't need to. That's a situation where it doesn't matter if they get a completion, make the tackle.
Right.
And that obviously would have gotten them off the field. Instead, the defense stays on the field. They're gassed and they gave up a touchdown. And then the Patriots, for the first time in the game, actually lost their lead. And that put the offense in a bad position where we knew, like, this is not a team that can play from behind. You don't want to be in that spot. And then all hell broke loose pretty much. So I need to acknowledge those things, that the defense played its butt off for the most part. And I thought really overall it was a good day from them. But those critical mistakes put their offense that you have to drag along with you in bad situations. Now, that said, Alex Van Pelt, I was really disappointed. I went into this game and we kept saying it. I keep reminding people that I said they needed to run 30 times because I thought it meant that they were controlling the clock and winning time of possession, which they did not. I thought it would mean that they were maintaining some kind of lead, which they were for most of the game, although the run game was only partially responsible because there were so few opportunities. And then on top of that, not just Alex Van Pelt in terms of play calling, where it felt like there were just too many situations, less than I thought after review because of all the penalties and times they got backed up. But there were too many times where I felt like they immediately went to the straight drop back passing game when it felt like the run game was starting to get momentum. Like there were very few times that they ran on consecutive plays. Better in the second half. Again, I will say I think they actually started to lean on it more. And that's really where I thought some of Jacoby Brissett's lapses started to come up. And you started to really notice, it feels like they're starting to maybe figure it out, but Jacoby's not doing well enough. Mm-hmm. And then just penalties constantly. Every time they started to, like Jacoby said it was 1 foot forward, 20 back, because you start doing things positively, then you get a hold or, whether it's Leverett or, pre-snap infraction or what have you, you keep putting yourself in these bad positions. And Jacoby, to his credit, really did a solid job in those extra long yardage situations of getting them back in the spot where they could potentially convert and have less aggressive down and distance situations. But at the end of the day, he is the quarterback. He's the one who touches the ball more than anybody else. He wasn't good enough. There were way too many missed opportunities on this tape. I can say Alex Van Pelt wasn't good enough, and he wasn't a lot of times, but also you'd expect your quarterback to capitalize on downfield opportunities, touchdowns, things we've been saying week in and week out. And earlier today, I tweeted out that I felt it would be a little scapegoaty to sit Jacoby Brissett after this specific game because he didn't put – like, remember last week I said he can't have this turnover-filled game again because with Jacoby Brissett, that's like the bare minimum. You can't turn the ball over. He did protect the football. I thought he made plays that he had no business making against instant pressure and just really bad situations that the down and distances put them in. But there were times where he could have gotten them bigger plays or scored points, and he didn't. So if he does get benched, and it sounds more and more like that could be the case, I'm not going to be surprised, and I won't hate it. I wish that we could maybe give Drake Maye a week so he doesn't have to go against a Texans defense. It's one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. I'd like to see another week of just the team overall playing clean and playing smart and being coached better. Not perfect necessarily, but better than what we saw against the Dolphins. But again, this is never going to be a perfect situation. I think Drake Maye needs to play before November. That's been the bottom line. I said it after the game. A change is necessary.
Sure.
And we're going to see why in this film because Brissett wasn't good enough, and he continues to not be good enough, again, in a very difficult situation that is far from enviable. Definitely.
And let's break it down. Before we do, I just do want to say on top of that, Brissett's been kind of put in, like we know, an impossible situation where the offensive line has been in disarray. The playmakers aren't great, and he's just here one season holding the seat for Drake Maye, right? And that's, everybody knows that, but there's still, I mean, he's getting his butt kicked back there, so kudos to him. And there's one play, too, specifically that I know is not in the breakdown, but I was watching it over this morning where he stood in there, got his shit rock, for a better term, and delivered a throw right on Kayshon Boutte's chest. It was that deep curl on the right side. It's like, see, that's the kind of stuff where, okay, good for him to still be able to sit back there. And yes, is his clock speeding up? Yes. Is he missing throws? Yes, we're going to get into it all. But he's still putting his best foot out there. And sometimes he makes a great play where I'm like, man, good on you to stand in there in front of your teammates and keep getting back up, which he keeps saying. But like
also had some completions, the one to Hunter Henry where he was literally getting dragged down. He had another one to Jalen Polk where that weird shotgun bootleg thing they keep trying where for some reason the guard doesn't get out and it feels like the QB is too far back. He's, again, getting brought down, but still manages to complete it. Great catch and adjustment by Jalen Polk. But, yeah, like there were times you could point to where it's Jacoby had no business making that play. And, of course, you can argue that Drake Maye could have done it as well. But it's not like Brissett's out here giving you absolutely nothing. Like the dude is battling, and you have to give some level of respect. But I also understand that fans are frustrated because it's just been a nearly impossible product to watch. Impossible to study. I've been telling you, like I am emotionally, mentally, spiritually exhausted studying this tape every week, but you know what? Let's let the people know what's good. So
let's do it. Yeah, we got 5 plays here, 5 misses from Jacoby Brissett that you mentioned it, Taylor. He's not getting it done. Show us why. We got 5 of them here for you guys.
Yeah, so we're going to run this one. This was an example of Jacoby Brissett just going short too quickly, which happened a few times this game when it seemed like he had an opportunity to get downfield, specifically here. Other times, there was the one where Ramondre Stevenson made somebody miss. I did think he had a missed read there. I didn't include it here. But even that one, I was like, you know what? This is early in the game. You just want to get the ball out of your hands fast. I get it. There was another one later where it was a 3rd and 2 when they ran mesh. And Jacoby immediately, once again, threw it to Ramondre Stevenson before anything else even had a chance to develop. And there were 2 defenders that came down to the football and tackled Ramondre. So this, I believe, was the second time that Jacoby just seemed to get to him way too fast. So this is going to be a split safety look where to the top, we're going to get cover 2, and to the bottom, we're going to get quarters technique. Now, also in this breakdown, you've seen the other ones, skimped out a little bit on some of the graphics just so we can really hone in on things that really matter here. Because the biggest thing here is that to the bottom of the screen, we do have them in quarters technique. And the Patriots to that side are going to be having Demario Douglas run an in-breaker downfield. Behind him is going to be Jalen Polk on a post, and then Ramondre Stevenson, as we saw, going to the flat. Now, against this quarters look, this double post or double in-breaker type of concept is exactly what you want. because this safety is responsible for taking this in-breaking route, right? Now, Jalen Polk, you're going to see, is going to end up breaking inside, and no one's going to be there. If Jacoby Brissett shows some anticipation, recognizes the play, I think he can get this to Polk for a touchdown. Now, I know there's been times where, earlier this season, Jacoby Brissett told me there was a play that wasn't really a play, it was dead. And I was thinking, okay, maybe that's what this is. But I think that Polk is running a live route. So let's see how this develops in slow motion. Now, Jacoby, 1, 2, 3-step drop, immediately goes to Ramondre Stevenson. But if he had just given it a tick more time, you have Jalen Polk open in the end zone. Now, of course, you do have Mike Nwenu letting up a little bit of pressure inside, but it's not nearly enough that I think Jacoby should have been saying to himself, I got to get this ball out immediately. Because,
he bailed. Yeah.
Again, you got Jalen Polk coming open. You even look at the top of the screen. This safety is also being occupied. If you put this on a line right in front of the hash, towards the hash, I think you're okay. But this is a big missed opportunity. Ramondre Stevenson gets stopped for minimal gain. And this was followed this was the drive where Brissett did a great job fighting back. But then the Patriots wound up running on the next play for minimal gain. Then they end up missing a field goal on, again, what could have been a touchdown. Now, this is one where Jacoby Brissett is just going to miss a really good downfield opportunity to Demario Douglas. Once again, I don't know why my screen is doing that. But anyway, all right, so you get play action. They fake outside zone. Get a favorable look, actually. But for some reason, Jacoby Brissett actually throws his receiver into coverage. So let's break down what we got here. Now, the Dolphins are going to show single high, but they're actually going to rotate who's in the middle of the field. So this deep safety is going to drop, and this safety near the line of scrimmage is actually going to take that deep middle. And that's going to be a tough rotation because the Patriots, like I said, are running this naked bootleg. They're going to actually have Jalen Polk come to set the edge and give Jacoby Brissett somewhere to reset. You got Antonio Gibson faking the outside zone action. Then here's the biggie. You're going to have Kayshon Boutte running a deep curl to occupy this deep third defender. Then you're going to have Hunter Henry coming across the field, attracting some attention on this side. And you're going to have Demario Douglas isolated against the safety as he's dropping on a Dino or a corner post. Because, again, this guy's trying to drop underneath from all the way across the field and get deep. Really tough position for him to be in. Let's see it in slow motion. Jacoby Brissett with the fake, and you see the edge defender's actually duped here. He buys the run. Yep. And then you got Jalen Polk helping out to pick up the blitzing linebacker. Now you're going to see the safety is actually telling this corner to get underneath Demario Douglas's route because he thinks it's a corner and this is some kind of flood. But Demario gives him that nod, breaks back inside, and look where the safety is. He has to speed turn.
Throw it flat, Jacoby. Come on.
And if Jacoby puts this flat down the hash somewhere like this, as he's getting ready to throw right now, to be fair, he does have a couple defenders in his face. But still, if you put this flat, it forces the defender to have to stay on top of the route. Instead, he's going to lead Demario Douglas into coverage downfield. And then Demario's going to try to track it. He's just like, wait a minute, where's this ball going? He turns upfield, tries to find it, can't make a play on the ball. You don't want to jump ball to your little guy like that. So another tough position.
Thought that was his worst miss of the day, Taylor. Again, where you had the block up, you had it blocked up. You mentioned, and you see that the defense falls for the play action, and you have that that block from Jalen Polk sets him up. Where again, he didn't have a ton of time, but he had enough time to set up and throw. And this is just a chemistry thing / a bad throw, right? Because Polk, he has time right there to set and throw. Yes. And yes, obviously it hasn't completely developed yet, but this once he turns the safety around, throw it flat.
This is when he really has hit the top of his drop.
Yeah,
this is where he should say, okay, I'm putting this horizontal. I'm not trying to put this deep because that's where the safety is.
And that's what Pop thinks he's doing. And then I don't know if he misses them or if he just doesn't throw it there, but that's everything else lined up. And that was one of the plays here where we mentioned that, the offensive line is in tough shape and it's not all Jacoby's fault. That one just can't have it. When you finally get everything put together, you have to make it happen. And he just didn't right there.
Yeah, and that was a drive that ended in a field goal, and that could have been a better opportunity for them maybe to run into the end zone if they wanted to. We don't know. Now, Here was a throw that he missed. This was another really tough miss on third down. Now, to be fair, Demario Douglas had dropped the slant the play before this that would have put them in the low red zone, and they would have been in position to convert. So this is kind of one of those things where it's not all on the quarterback. Other people are missing opportunities as well. But as the quarterback in a critical situation, you need to find the open man and get him the ball. Now, on this play, the Dolphins are going to be sending a blitz with man coverage across the board and this safety in the deep middle. Now, notice how all these people are pressed up, but you've got Austin Hooper with free access. Now, the two best man beaters on this play are going to be Austin Hooper on a curl route, and then backside you got Jalen Polk running a slant. Again, this safety's dropping to the middle, so there's space for him to make this throw if he wants it, but I don't mind the idea of him throwing to Austin Hooper here because, once again, off coverage, this is pretty much a gimme. And we've talked about it. He needed to take more of these opportunities. When you got the guy uncontested, just get him the ball in space. He's going to throw to Austin Hooper. That's his choice. Now, hits the top of his drop. There's some congestion in the pocket. They have the blitz. Antonio Gibson still does a solid job picking this up. He gives Jacoby Brissett some room to step up. And now you see also Austin Hooper's beginning to turn around. So the plan should be quick hitch, get the ball out of your hands. I know it's muddy. You can make this throw. He does step up, and Austin Hooper, turn it around. He's open. The ball is way too low, hits the turf before it even gets to Austin Hooper. Another missed opportunity, 3rd and 8. This wound up being a field goal. Once again, this was the one where Demario Douglas could have had the catch that got them in the low red zone, but another missed opportunity. All right, in this play, it was tough. Watching this live, I know we were like, this was such a tight window throw, and he's late. Was it because there's a lot of traffic in the area? Of course. But I still don't really love the outcome of this play because I feel like Jacoby Brissett just hitched at least one too many times before letting this ball go to the sideline on 3rd and 8 in the 4th quarter with the Patriots up just 1 point. So the way this coverage is basically going to work out is you're going to see the point man end up essentially being bracketed. Then you're going to have this safety covering Jalen Polk from all the way over here. And then I believe that's Demario Douglas is going to get coverage from the outside most defender. So the Patriots are going to run a route to basically try to get Jalen Polk open by having Kayshon Boutte run a clear out on the corner. Then Demario Douglas basically just trying to suck up this defender on the curl. And then you're going to have this out route where ideally he can sneak between some of the coverage defenders. So the way it plays out, it is a murky picture. I have to admit that. So it's kind of confusing the way that this gets passed off because you're going to see Demario Douglas sucks up the attention from that outside most defender. Jalen Polk starts to clear right behind him.
Throw it now.
You see that Jacoby Brissett, like right now is when you're saying,
now.
Oh, man, like, look, this guy's not even looking at Jalen Polk. Let the ball out. You see, he realizes, I think that there's some route underneath me and starts to speed turn. But once again, there's time for Jacoby to make this throw.
Jacoby's just sitting there. Look at Jacoby in the pocket. He's not doing anything. I mean, nothing's not doing anything, but make a decision.
All this time, plenty of space to throw. This is when he makes the throw. So I think this is one hitch too many. Now, this is when he should have let it go. One more hitch. Now he opens, tries to make the throw, tries to put some sauce on it. But Jalen Polk just really puts him in a tough position to have to try to make this catch along the sideline. And then we would see a similar play later in the game on what we all thought was a touchdown, but ended up not being because Jalen Polk just couldn't quite get his second foot down. We're just going to run it a couple of times at once full speed just so we can remember if you forgot this unfortunate nightmare. So close. It just feels like Jacoby was maybe thinking about that Fred Warner interception, wanted to make sure he put it over the linebacker. I'm also going to break down why he was kind of in a tough spot because of how the defender reacted, but at the same time, you just wish you gave your receiver a more catchable ball. Could a veteran have caught this? Maybe, but again, it's on the quarterback to give him something that's a little more catchable. So we're going to see the Patriots are going to run what looks like a common concept for them, where they're going to run basically a levels concept with a high-low here, this receiver on a sit route, this receiver basically just clearing out the middle, and then Demario Douglas running an underneath route is one of the last options on this play. What they're actually running is instead of having a seam, this player is going to run a corner. It's Kayshon Boutte to keep this safety's attention, and then Jalen Polk is going to pretend to sit down, but actually go vertical over this defender. This was, I think, the best play call of the day for Alex Van Pelt. He knew what he was getting and dialed up something to isolate this middle linebacker. And then to the top of the screen, you're going to have this safety. I'm not 100% sure if it's quarters or if they're in some type of cover 2, but either way, this smash concept is going to hold his attention. So let's let it play out. Now you can see Jalen Polk looks like he's going to run the sit route. Linebacker respects that, then takes off vertically, and you're going to see he's going to go into clear space with these two defenders having their attention on Kayshon Boutte running the corner route. Set lets it go, and this is where it's kind of tricky because it looks like this defender is going to continue to carry him and maybe turn his back to the ball and try to get his hands up, but he hesitates. See, he kind of opens up.
Right, he doesn't turn. Yeah.
And I think Jacoby was trying to put it so high that if he put his hands up, the guy wouldn't have a chance to make a play on it. But either way, there's also a defender coming down about to hit Jacoby as he makes this throw. So again, not an easy situation for the quarterback, but he puts this high. And then Jalen Polk in the back of the end zone, maybe a more experienced receiver does a better job keeping his feet down and finds some way to get that toe tap. Unfortunately, he isn't able to do it. And it's an incompletion, wipes away what would have been potentially a game-winning score for the Patriots offense.
Devastating. A couple thoughts before we get into the end of half stuff there. One, there's 12 yards for Jacoby to get that ball in. So a little bit better of touch, and it's a touchdown, I think. And like you said, yeah, he may be being cautious of that middle linebacker as a defender there because he can get his hands up or he's going to carry him, what have you. But just, again, not good enough for an end of game play. Now, I think you're right, too, where I don't think all the blame is on Jacoby there. I think Jalen Polk, more experience. He's only a rookie. Get both feet down. He's not used to it. He's played in college for the last couple of seasons. So it's not an excuse, but it's the reality where they still need to get that muscle memory down and make sure you get both feet in. And then before that on that play where Jacoby's just sitting there holding on to the ball on that out route, we don't have it up, but there's a point where the defender that's on Polk and he's sprinting to the sideline, you have to throw it now because Polk has to slow up for the sideline. And so then by the time he's able to throw, he's slowing down and that guy gets under it where you have to get him in stride and throw it. And it doesn't happen. So I don't know if it's an internal clock thing with Jacoby on that specific play. It's not because he's taking way too long. Other times it's just, again, it's not good enough. So it
feels like it's both the internal clock at times where I think that he's just going through his reads so fast. He's taking some things off the board, but it's also, I think he's afraid to challenge some tight windows and
100%.
Show that anticipation of, okay, I got to get the ball out because sometimes it's just a matter of a step where you can just see the defender's leverage where like if a tight end is sitting in zone, where it's like, yeah, it's a tight window, but you got to make that throw. You have to squeeze it in after you hit the back foot. So like you said, you nailed it. It's a combination. It's one, I think he's just going too fast, but also it seems like there's hesitation to throw into those tight spaces. Now, sometimes he did and showed great anticipation and aggressiveness, like on when he was throwing downfield to Demario Douglas. Like that was a big sign of growth I did see from Brissett, but at the same time, that was really more the exception than the norm.
Yeah, for sure. But like we said, it's not all on Jacoby. There's some execution issues across the board. We're going to get into that. But before we do, a quick word from our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. So make sure you run your game all season long on Prize Picks. They have injury insurance, which is huge. When guys go down, you can get your money back. It's the best place, like I said, to get real money sports action in. 10 million users sign up today. They have flex pay, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect, doubling your money, even if all the picks don't hit. Prize Picks also puts their members first, so withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. Taylor, we hit our Patriots daily Prize Picks lineup yesterday. So shout out Walking Prize Picks. We're going to have those every single week throughout the rest of the season. And we'll also have them on my Twitter for our primetime games as well. Our friend Rich LeMay, our super editor, puts the videos together for me. And we got one coming up for Monday Night Football, Chiefs versus Saints. So make sure you check it out and get in on the action. And to do so, use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. Download the app today. Again, use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. So head over to Prize Picks, download it, code CLNS, Prize Picks, run your game. We are also powered by Game Time. Game Time is the exclusive ticketing app of the CLNS Media Network. And we actually got a shout out on Twitter today from somebody who got tickets to the Chargers game out in LA using code CLNS. Again, you get $20 off your first purchase. So go ahead and check it out. They're super deals, great deals, amazing deals on the Game Time app. Game Time Picks feature filters out the fluff and shows you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. They also have seat views on the app, so you can see what it's going to be, what the field is going to look like from where you're sitting. You get into Gillette, you can get into any sporting venue, you can get into theaters, plays, etc. with the Game Time app. So go ahead and download it. Again, they have the Game Time Picks feature, filters out the fluff, and makes it easy to get your tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Taylor, what time is it?
Game Time.
That one hurt more than usual. But head over to Game Time. Like I said, $20 off your first purchase. Take $20 off maybe your first Patriots game. Maybe it's Drake Maye's first start against the Texans. Who knows? But if you are going to go and you are a fan of the show, check out Game Time. Use that code for your first purchase. All right, Taylor, let's break down a couple more drives before we get out of here. Two, I don't want to say crucial ones, but we talked about it on the post-game show. We talked about it in the press box. We were fuming. Taylor was apoplectic, where it was the end of the half, like a minute 45 left, and they ended up getting two drives together. And it was just execution nightmares all across the board. They could have and probably should have just ran the clock out to halftime, but instead they make a bevy of mistakes, stop the clock, etc. Taylor, let's break it down first and foremost. Again, a minute 46, I believe, on the clock is where this thing starts. Oh, minute 14.
So I will say really quickly, the big thing for me here is that while the execution wasn't good enough, I didn't like the fact that this was just like the Seahawks game, where I gave them a pass for being aggressive at the end of halves, but the execution wasn't good enough. And we have not seen, like, they had no momentum, right? They were going 3 and out. They were getting penalized. They had missed a field goal. Like, I just didn't understand what made them think that they had done well enough to say, yeah, we're going to be able to push the ball far enough to score points backed up.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying just run the clock out. Like, just at some point, someone needs to be the adult and say, we got to get into halftime. We need to regroup because things are not working. We are out of sync. And you are going to see that in these examples. So again, as much as I didn't like the execution, I don't think they should have been put in this situation. I think they should have run the clock out. They got very lucky that the defense didn't end up allowing any points here. So I'm going to run this through really quickly. This was after an 8-yard gain from Ramondre Stevenson. It is 2nd and 2, and the Patriots decide to go for a shot play to Jalen Polk that doesn't get completed. And it looks like there was a miscommunication. So you can't really see it, but Jalen Polk on the bottom of the screen as the X running a fade route against man coverage. Now, Jacoby Brissett hits the top of his drop. He's going to throw this upfield like he's expecting Jalen Polk to separate and stack his defender. But what Jalen Polk is actually going to do, and sorry, the banner kind of hides.
No, hold on. I'm trying to take it off. Here, go ahead. That should be gone.
But what Jalen, oh, goodness gracious. Love technology. Okay. But what Jalen Polk is going to do is pretty much box up with this defender like he's expecting it to be a back shoulder throw. Instead, like I said, Jacoby Brissett leads him upfield. Cater Kohu turns around. I don't want to say almost picks his off because it wasn't super close, but still gets a hand on the ball, and there's really no shot that Jalen Polk has at this. Now, this is on the next play. This is going to be on 3rd and 2. This was literally the poster child for the fact that, one, after the miscommunication and Jalen Polk and Brissett playing different types of routes, you also have a miscommunication here on this play. So I'm going to run it through real quick. I'm sorry. This is a mistake by me. I'm sorry. This was the miss to Austin Hooper. This is a miss to Austin Hooper, where this was one of the examples of, I thought, Jacoby Brissett not doing a great job anticipating the spaces in zone coverage. So this is super basic. The Dolphins are playing cover 3. Like, it's kind of a relief when I see defenses just do this normally in the graphics. I'm like, oh, I don't have to do all this crazy stuff. Yeah, it's very straightforward cover 3, right? And the Patriots are going to be running another vertical route to the bottom with Austin Hooper running what looks like an option route, just trying to find the space in zone, which is really the best choice because up here you're going to have an out route and a slant. This is really a better combination against man coverage where, all right, if this defender is playing you with inside leverage, you're breaking away. If this defender is playing you with outside leverage, you got somebody breaking away. And then obviously you're going to have Ramondre Stevenson in scanning for any blitzers, and then he's just going to drop as the check down option. But once again, Austin Hooper, as the guy who's trying to find the space in zone, is really the best option here.
Mm-hmm.
So Jacoby Brissett's going to take the handoff. Once he gets to the top of his drop, he can anticipate, okay, this defender's leverage is a little farther away. This guy's going to the flat. I can at the very least throw this low and just give Austin Hooper a ball where he can kind of dive on it and then be at the sticks. I think that's pretty reasonable to expect from a veteran quarterback. But he holds onto the ball, immediately goes backside before he really gives the route a chance. Then you see the slants walled off because they're in zone coverage. So I know live it seemed like he potentially missed a throw to Hunter Henry. He really missed it to Hooper and then exacerbates it by pretty much running. The check down to Ramondre, doesn't like that. Then runs himself into pressure and throws it away on third down when the Dolphins had all 3 of their timeouts. Not only did I not like the decision to try to score points and go for this when the Dolphins once again had all of their timeouts, the Patriots ran the ball, then decided to pass twice, and they kept stopping the clock. So just unexcusable execution, in my opinion. I don't really know what they were thinking when this happened. And then it didn't stop there because, actually, let me show you really quickly from the end zone angle.
Yeah.
Because you can really get an appreciation for the fact that Hooper.
Oh, put it on his numbers right now. Bang. Right now. Yep.
I don't know why he doesn't, because the linebacker isn't enough of a threat for you to even think he can really make a play on this. Again, pressure does get there in the pocket, but I just don't like the decision there from Jacoby Brissett. One, to kind of panic and then to throw it away. Now, this is the final one from the end of the first half. Now, this is going to be a 3rd and 5. They had some bad luck earlier. The play before this, they tried to throw to Demario Douglas after there was a miscommunication where this is the play. I ended up just getting rid of it because I was trying to highlight Brissett more than anything. But Hunter Henry had to tell Kendrick Bourne to go upfield because Kendrick ran a hitch when he was supposed to run a go, and Hunter Henry wound up running right in his area. Jacoby Brissett tried to extend the play and throw it to Demario Douglas. It got bad at the line of scrimmage. It set up this 3rd and 5. Once again, the Dolphins have their timeouts. Just get into the half. I know you really want a field goal probably, but you're getting the ball at halftime and you already have a lead. This felt really greedy for me. So I'm going to run it through real quick. So you have Hunter Henry coming into the backfield to help out. This felt to me, honestly, more like an answer for cover 0 than cover 1 robber, which this turned out to be. I'm kind of going to explain why. So the Dolphins, like I said, cover 1 robber, where you're going to have this safety cheating down to take the in-breaker from Mario Douglas, which Jacoby Brissett should have seen because they're not really trying to hide it. And then you have man coverage across the board. The Patriots are running double slants to the bottom of the screen with a slant flat combination to the top. Pretty much all the slants should be on the table, but if there's one that I would want to eliminate from my progression, it would be the one where he's running into a safety, because obviously even if you throw it to him, he's probably going to get lit up. So what Jacoby Brissett's going to end up doing is taking the snap, and he does look to Demario Douglas first, it looks like. But Mario, like I said, is running into traffic, and behind him, you've got Kayshon Boutte running into space. Jacoby Brissett comes off to Mario Douglas, doesn't go to Brissett or Boutte either. Then Nick Leverett gives up some pressure on the inside, and Jacoby Brissett once again, for whatever reason, just take the sack, punt it away. At least maybe your punter has more room. And
make them burn another timeout too, right? You take one of their timeouts
away. The punter has more breathing room. Instead, again, he throws it away, and I don't understand why he does this. I don't know if it was coached. I don't know if he decided to go rogue, but these are repeat mistakes in a 2-minute drive from both the coaching staff and the players. Just not acceptable.
It's just not. And again, I don't want to keep harping on this because it killed me on the postgame show when I brought out the stats and was talking about how much time they had and the plays they were running. It's like, this is not an offense that has the ability to, go rogue, if you will. It's not like Patrick Mahomes at the end of a half, right? Where he can just dink and dunk, make stuff happen to Kelsey, make something happen to, a Rashee Rice or whatever across the middle. Like that. They're not built this way. They're not built to score quickly. They're built to, grind you down.
Move the ball. Yep.
Right. Move the ball slowly but surely, grind you down, run the football, throw in the opportunities that they're not built for end of half situation like that. So for them, like you said, it felt greedy. I think that's a good word, to try and get a double score when you're already leading. Get yourself to halftime. Get the football at the beginning of the beginning of the second half. Grind them down that way, get your double score there, if you will. It's not really a double score, but you're taking the lead, add to your lead. Instead, two drives in a row, they give the ball back to Miami and risk them scoring. Luckily, they had the dropped hold at the end on one of the drives, and then Miami just ran out of time on the second one. But not good enough. Poor play calling, and then obviously poor execution when it comes down to it too.
And we used to get on Bill Belichick for being ultra conservative in the last couple seasons, where the offense just didn't have any momentum, and he was like, you know what? I know we have all of our timeouts. I know we're at our own 30-yard line. I'd rather go into the half. I'd rather regroup. And we didn't like it at the time, but also every once in a while I was like, you know what? I agree, because I think you are just going to start bleeding more profusely if in this critical situation you try to put your foot on the gas pedal when you got no gas.
Yep.
And now,
all right. So, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you can set it up. Go ahead.
I was going to set it up. So after the Jalen Polk missed touchdown we talked about, the Patriots actually get the ball back after Miami force Miami to punt. They get the ball back with about 30 seconds left on their own 43, and looks like they're just trying to get themselves into range or something, but still poor execution here. No timeouts, and they don't get it done. So Tayler, take us through it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. Honestly, they're pretty straightforward, but you can see in this clip. So I'm going to run it. This was them trying to get in the Hail Mary range pretty much.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett has hit the top of his drop. No one is looking at him.
Nope.
This is a play where I would like for them to try like a middle field screen, like where we saw they had the trick play against the Niners where you throw it underneath and then you have the lateral, like something a little more creative, because your offensive line cannot hang when you have, I know Antonio Gibson was briefly in there to help out, but you just can't do this when you have 5 offensive linemen. And we saw last week Demontre Jacobs got put in a tough position, wasn't able to hang against Nick Bosa. Now you kind of put him in a similar spot where he's got to block somebody he doesn't really have the skill to block. And you're going to see, once again, the rusher is there. He's bearing down on Jacoby Brissett, and no one is even looking at the quarterback. I don't even know, honestly, how many of these routes were live, because when you look at them, it looks like Jalen Polk thinks there's a screen or something. Like Jalen Polk at the top looks like there's a screen. Demario Douglas isn't looking. I don't know really what. I think Hunter Henry's maybe trying to get to his landmark, but he's not looking. The only one who starts to actually give his eyes is Kayshon Boutte. But by this time, Jacoby Brissett's trying to get out of 2 sacks, just get the ball out of his hand at this point. And I'm not really even mad at him for trying to make this throw, because Hunter Henry wasn't really an option at this point when he started making it. And you do have Boutte. At least you know that you're getting past midfield. I really don't hate this decision, because they did need yards and they did manage to spike it.
You didn't have it in there, but I did point out on Twitter earlier that I love this from Kayshon Boutte. I don't know if you saw this, but he impressed me yesterday for more reasons than one. Obviously, the big block on Ramondre's touchdown. And again, I don't know if it's in the clip here, but as soon as Boutte, first of all, he reads this coverage, gets to the ground, and as soon as he gets up,
that he gets the ref and he tries to spot the ball. Yeah.
Runs to the ref to spot the ball, and then someone responded to me when I tweeted the clip and was like, isn't this obvious? Shouldn't everybody know this? This is like high school football levels of awareness. It's like, do you remember Chase Claypool a couple years ago? Yeah, catches a first down with 40 seconds, no timeouts, and he points for a first down, and one of his other teammates has to run and grab the ball to give it to the ref. So no, it's actually not as easy as you might think. It is, but some of these guys don't do it. Impressed by Kayshon Boutte for him to do that in that situation.
And sometimes they'll actually try to spot the ball themselves. And everyone tells you, don't do that, because you think you know where it's being spotted. Then the ref has to move it again. And that time could take 2 valuable seconds off the clock. So a great point. That was great awareness for him. This end zone angle just cut it off. But that's a really great point there. All right, now, this one, I know that they said it was about execution, and I think I may know why. But this is just one where I feel like there weren't a lot of great answers, okay? Because the Patriots are basically going to try to flood the right side of the field. So you're going to have all these guys breaking towards the middle, and Jalen Polk pretty much just trying to clear out here. So Jacoby Brissett gets out of the pocket. He's got a good amount of time. Now, I feel like Demario Douglas is the best option here. You do have this defender coming down, and I understand that. But if you're able to hit him in stride, there's at least a chance that Demario is going to get out of bounds. Now, instead, he ends up going to Hunter Henry, who, to be fair, is running into some space, and I understand. And honestly, if it weren't for the situation, this would have been an insane throw from Jacoby, because you're going to see he puts it right over the defender. This was almost a pick, literally right over the defender. But because Hunter Henry has to slow down and kind of jump up to shield the ball, there's no chance of him getting out of bounds at all. Now, these situations are like impossible. These are very, very tough positions to put anybody in because everybody and their mother knows you need to get out of bounds here or the clock's just going to keep running. The Dolphins play this well, and they actually end up having these safeties pretty much trying their best to cover anything over the middle or anything that breaks near here. I'm curious to know what exactly Gerard Mayo thought Jacoby could have done better, but I'm guessing just the fact that Hunter Henry had to stop his momentum. He even has the safety coming over the top. Good defense by the Dolphins. I want to give them credit, but again, just like no shot here. This is an end of half situation. Only opportunity you have to potentially win the game. And it felt like just those back-to-back plays where you didn't really have a fair shot. And then just putting a bow on it. The end of half stuff wasn't good enough from a coaching or execution standpoint, period.
I was going to say the coaching there to me because you got to get guys going to the sideline more than just, one option with Demario Douglas, or have it be your de facto Hail Mary play where you flood the right side. And then instead of having Jalen Poole clear out, have him run opposite, see if you can get him in one-on-one coverage across the top. And I'm not going to sit here and call Alex Van Pelt's plays. I don't even know if they have that in the playbook, but there needed to be something different there to kind of give them a chance. But unfortunately, they just don't have it.
Oh, because you had 12 seconds to start the play.
Right.
So honestly, you're at Miami's 36. That's Hail Mary territory. I would have tried to throw a couple in there. Maybe they wanted to get closer. Like, I don't really get the idea there, but you're right. At least send people into the end zone. You're going to the sideline and maybe it's a little bit closer, but the end goal is the same. And if you don't get out of bounds, then you're screwed. And you have all these routes running from the other side of the field. Right. Maybe they thought that Miami wasn't going to distribute them properly because they weren't in their vision. I don't really know what the thinking was, but just not good enough from the coaching perspective. But also, as we mentioned a few times, Jacoby Brissett didn't really do enough to put them in a winning position either.
Nope, no, he didn't. And I think that's why we sit here today, Monday afternoon, not yet knowing who the Patriots quarterback is going to be next Sunday against the Houston Texans. We'll probably hear from Gerard Mayo Wednesday morning with potentially a decision there. Again, he refused to name Jacoby Brissett his starter heading into this week, something he hasn't done all season in his Monday morning press conference following watching the film. So some drama there to potentially to watch as the Patriots get ready again to host the Houston Texans for their week 5, week 6 matchup. We're in week 6. Season's going fast, that's Taylor. We're already in week 6. Yeah, that's it, right? Patriots, though, 1-4 after another loss, 15-10 to the Dolphins. So that's going to do it for our offensive film breakdown. Some misses from Jacoby Brissett, some poor execution at the end of both halves of the Patriots. And overall, the offense just not good enough as they suffer their 4th loss in a row. We'll be back here on Patriots Press Pass throughout the entire rest of the week with more of your Patriots content as they continue to rummage through the rest of this season. I think that's the best word to use it. But again, 4 straight losses for the Patriots. So we'll be back moving forward. Until next time, thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will talk to you next time.